This is an election night update from WCIA 3 News, your local election headquarters.
Good evening, I'm Jen LASK from WCIA 3 News. Thank you so much for joining us as we continue to follow local, state, and federal elections on a day that is unlike any other election that we've experienced in the past. Now, we know a record number of people have already cast their ballots by mail, but experts say that they have been expecting to see a surge going to the polls today, and we have been following that not only in our state, but we've also been seeing lines throughout the country as well. Now, we know that there's about a record 8.3 million voters registered this year. 43% already cast their ballots either early, in person, or through the mail. And one of the things that we have been talking about a lot today is what happens over the next hour and a half. Whether you still have a ballot or you are planning to vote in person, what needs to happen before then? We have been checking in throughout the evening online and on air with Mark Maxwell, our Capitol Bureau Chief, and we are going to be listening to him momentarily. I want to talk to him a little bit about security and election safety. So this is something that he had been following for us earlier today. Let's listen to what Mark Maxwell has to say.
A record 2.3 million voters in Illinois requested a mail ballot this year. That's almost 1 in 4 of the 8+ million registered voters, and already 4 in 5 of those ballots have been returned, either in ballot drop boxes like this one or in the mail itself. County clerks have already done much of the legwork, organizing those ballots, sorting them through the voting machine, just waiting to push the button at 7 o'clock to officially tabulate the columns, the votes for one candidate or another, for one ballot question or another. That process incredibly secure as the county clerk keeps those ballots under lock and key inside their premises. The Penske trucks behind us here are showing the work that has already been done to go out and stand up many of these voting locations and voting machines across this county. One important note, the clerks remind us that even when they report tonight the unofficial results that 100% of precincts are reporting, those only refer to the ballots actually cast in person at voting locations and does not refer to the roughly 25% of votes that were cast by mail. Those are a completely different column, so as we're watching those results, keep that in mind. Even when it says 100% of precincts reporting, it might not still include the full picture of all the votes. Reporting in Springfield, Illinois, I'm Mark Maxwell.
With us earlier before the 5 p.m. newscast, Mark had headed over to Taylorville, where he just spoke with Representative Rodney Davis, who is up against challenger Betsy Dirksen-Londrigan for the second time in 2 years. But right now, we are going to shift gears from Springfield, from Taylorville, and head to our own Champaign County. We have Courtney Bunting joining us now. And Courtney, tell me a bit about what it's been like. You've been keeping an eye on some of the different polling sites in Champaign County.
That's right, Jen, and I'm here at Meadowbrook Community Church in Champaign, and it looks like it's really starting to trickle. There was a steady flow of voters here, and now it seems that there aren't any voting at this time. Now, compared to yesterday, they were explaining, an election judge was explaining to me that they had yesterday a total of 385 voters. That was over the 8 hours they were open then. Today they're open longer, and it looked like their numbers were expected to be a little lower today here at Meadowbrook. Now, I did talk as well to Aaron Ammons, and he said, he gave me the early voting and mail-in total. That was 66,000, he said. And then today, now this was a couple hours ago, but he said there were 18,000. So it looks like there was a huge turnout for early voters and mail-ins. It's yet to be said what the total for Champaign County, of course, is for today, because the polls haven't closed yet. But as of right now here at Meadowbrook, you can see behind me, it's very quiet. There aren't any voters here currently, but of course they obviously still have time to come. And as of maybe just about 15 minutes ago, there was a steady flow of them consistently coming out the entire day. So it looks like now we've just kind of reached what is a low here, Jen.
And we'll see if that picks back up as it gets a little bit closer to 7 p.m., right?
Exactly. We'll see. They still have time.
All right. Thank you so much, Courtney. We will let you get back to getting ready for your 6 o'clock live shot. Thanks for talking with us a bit about that. Now, one of the things that we have also been focusing on as we talk about this record early voting and record mail-in ballots as well is what to expect tonight. And we might not have as clear of an idea as we would typically expect from an election night because of the record number of ballots that have been sent in early. And one of the things that, people are election officials are cautioning against is getting ahead of yourself. We have a long way to go. The night is still young. I mean, again, we still have a little more than an hour to go. But Governor Pritzker spoke earlier today during his COVID-19 daily press conference, talking a bit about what to expect tonight and in the days beyond. And we're going to listen in to a couple minutes of what he had been saying earlier.
Please remember that if you are in line to vote at your voting place at 7 p.m. tonight, when polls are scheduled to close, you have the right to continue waiting and cast your ballot. As of this morning, approximately 3.8 million Illinoisans had cast a ballot, with nearly 2 million ballots being cast in person and more than 1.8 million ballots submitted through the mail. According to data from the Illinois State Board of Elections, a surge in vote-by-mail ballots accounts for the greatest difference between the votes cast so far in the 2020 election and the comparable time during the 2016 election. More than 1.5 million more voters have already cast a ballot compared to the same time during the 2016 presidential election, and that's pretty great. With vote by mail hitting all-time records, that means that we will have to be patient about the results of all of our races this year. It's possible, maybe even likely, that we won't know the outcome of the presidential election tonight. As I mentioned yesterday, this waiting period is a great time to take a break from social media. We know there are foreign state actors, specifically Russia and Iran and others, who intend to promote disinformation and misinformation today and in the coming days over social media. They would like nothing more than to promote conspiracy theories and sow discontent in an attempt to pit Americans against one another. If you want accurate information about the vote count, go to your local election authority's website, to the Illinois State Board of Elections website, to dedicated sites like 538.com or the election coverage section of the Politico website or the New York Times website, where they track all the races nationwide, or visit other reputable national and local news outlets. Remember, political candidates do not count votes. Political parties do not count votes. Television networks do not count votes. State and local election authorities count votes. They then transmit this information to the media and to the general public, a long-standing and standard process across the nation. With the record-setting use of vote-by-mail ballots here in Illinois because of COVID, we can expect to get results on probably Wednesday or Thursday or Friday. And there will be an official finalized tally of votes announced by November 17th. That's in accordance with existing state law. And just as with every election, states will be working hard this year to make sure that every eligible vote that was turned in on time is counted.
We are continuing to follow everything on the ballots as we make sure that those numbers come in and that every vote is counted, as Governor Pritzker is saying. Now, people are focused on the top of the ballot, the presidential race between President Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden. We also have the tax question on the ballot, the proposed Illinois constitutional amendment, which could change the state's flat income tax to a graduated income tax that would take a larger percentage from wealthier residents within the state. You've heard from Mark Maxwell, who's been covering the 13th Congressional District's race between incumbent Rodney Davis and challenger Betsy Dirksen-Londrigan. We also spoke earlier with Cole Hankey about the U.S. Senate race for Dick Durbin, who is up for re-election this year. But those are just some of the statewide and regional issues that we have been focusing on, and of course the presidential race. We're also focusing on your local issues on the ballots as well. One of those is following issues with cannabis in Tolono, and we are going to take a look at that topic with Jamie Mays. Let's take a listen.
Hi everyone, happy election day. Jamie Mays here. If you live in Tolono, you'll notice that there is a referendum on your ballot regarding recreational cannabis sales. The village at this point does not have any plans of having a dispensary within the village. What this is an opportunity for your voice to be heard. It's a chance for you to say what you think about having any type of recreational cannabis sales in Tolono. I asked the trustee about how much revenue this could bring in for the village, and I wasn't given a clear answer. He mentioned that it's still a little premature to talk about revenue right now and what this could mean as far in terms of money for the village. This is a non-binding referendum, so if approved, this will just give people in the village a chance to know what the climate is, what people think about recreational cannabis sales. Again, Jamie Mays here, and happy Election Day.
All right, thank you, Jamie. Happy Election Day to everyone. For some of us, Election Day started a bit earlier. Courtney was covering Meadowbrook and the voting center there. That's where I went to vote a few days earlier. There were lines when I was there. As Courtney Bunting was saying, there were lines when she was there earlier, but of course, when we were talking with her, it had thinned out a bit. We are going to see if there is a final surge of voters coming in this final. I'm looking 1 hour and 11 minutes until the polls close. And this is a really exciting night for all of us here at WCIA3. We have been working to follow all of these different elections. We have been researching the issues, researching the candidates. There has been a flurry of activity here, and it is just starting to ramp up. I'm looking right now as we are setting up. We have Jennifer Jensen, Courtney Bunting, Mark Maxwell, all getting ready to bring you live reports on key issues. We have Jennifer in Macon County, Courtney here in Champaign County. Mark, of course, has been in Taylorville, where he is following the congressional race, but we will be continuing to check in with them throughout the night. We also will be checking in with our anchors, Jennifer Roscoe, Paul Cicchini, Jessica Coons, and we're looking forward to bringing you the latest updates here. We have been streaming right now on WCIA.com and the WCIA News app. If you are stepping away from your computer, don't forget that it is free to download these apps. It's easy to do. Kevin Lighty is always reminding us to download this for weather, for news, and he has been in studio with me all night helping to bring you the latest updates on this. So keep letting us know what's going on in your neck of the woods as well. Message us on Facebook, on Twitter. I know we put out a push earlier to ask for your I voted sticker pictures, because of course it wouldn't be an election without getting a picture of that and sharing it on Instagram or any of your social media accounts. So we're going to share some of those later tonight as well. But we are about 10 minutes out to the 6 p.m. newscast, and we are getting ready for all of the different live coverage of these elections. And we want to make sure that our team here has a bit of time to transition from this digital coverage over to the on-air coverage, which will be staying on our live stream as well. So we are going to be getting ready to wrap up here for the time being, but be sure to come back with us, check in starting at 6 p.m. The anchors will be on air for an hour, and then after that, every 30 minutes, they are going to be popping on to give you the latest updates with the polls closed on what numbers are coming in. We also have Lindsay Jones, as you heard earlier tonight, if you were watching, breaking down some of those numbers as well. The AP following roughly 7 1,000 races across the country, and we are going to be focusing in on those impacting you right here in Central Illinois. For WCIA 3 News, I'm Jen LASK. Thanks for watching.
The election results continue here on WCIA 3 News, your local election headquarters.